Hello, my sixth graders. Today, we're going to do a video on how we're going to use the trick top dog in the house. I told you in class that this is a trick that we're going to use all year long with converting fractions. And two of the main ways that we're going to use it is how we use it to convert mixed numbers from fractions and also fractions into decimals. So what I'm going to do is go over the blue teacher notes that you are going to place into your journals, and let us talk about that for a second before I show you how you actually use the trick, okay? Everybody knows that when you have a dog, there is one dog in the house who kind of rules the roost. And sorry, I was trying to get it to where you could see it really well. And whenever it starts raining outside or that dog just wants to go and take a nap, it kind of rules the roost and all the other dogs kind of have to obey what it does. We're going to use this particular trick and this blue sheet to first learn how to convert fractions into decimals, because that's the hardest one. Every fraction has a numerator and a denominator. The numerator, and I'm going to place an N by this so you know that's the numerator, is the top dog. The denominator, which is a D, is the bottom dog. Top dog is always boss and bullies around the bottom dog. When they both try to get inside the doghouse, top dog always wins and pushes the bottom dog out into the rain. And when we look at the doghouse, I want you to think about the doghouse actually being the division symbol that we use for long division, okay? The outside is our divisor, where that bottom denominator goes. Our numerator, which is our top dog, is always going to go in front. Now, the way that I do this with fractions is I automatically put my numerator and denominator in the house where they're supposed to be, and I add my decimal point. As soon as you add that decimal point, it is very important, especially with division, to keep everything lined up exactly. And so we're going to just move that dot, that decimal, right up to above the division line. So we're just going to go tick, 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 boom. That way you know it's lined up perfectly. From there, I always put a couple zeros after it just to get me started. You may have to add more, we don't know, but that'll at least get us started. Once you set up the doghouse, move the decimal up above the line, then do long division to complete the conversion. This answer will tell you, this is important, what your equivalent decimal value is for the fraction you started out with. Okay, that's the pivotal part. Once you do the long division, whatever you get as your quotient up top tells you that is what is equal in decimal form to the fraction in which you began. Okay, so let's look at a couple different examples. Let's say that I have the fraction, let's do 7 halves. Well, we know that the 7 is our numerator, our denominator is 2. So what we need to do is set it up using top dog in the house. Here is our doghouse. Top dog is 7. He pushes all the other dogs out, and 7 goes inside the house. The 2 is the bottom dog. He gets stuck out in the rain, and he goes outside the division bar. Just like the blue sheet said, we're going to add a decimal and go tick, 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 boom, and move that decimal directly up above it so we know that's where it goes. We have to keep things lined up perfectly, okay, kiddos? Then let's go ahead and add a couple zeros just to start off with. From here, we do long division. How many times does 2 go into 7? Well, it goes 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 7, take away 6, is left with 1 as the remainder. Then we bring the next 0 down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10, and we have a remainder of 0. Is there any need to bring this 0 down? No, because even if we did, we would just have a place filler of 0 there. So I want you guys to see, because we got 3.5 as our quotient, this is the equivalent. 7/2 is equal to the exact same thing as 3.5. Okay, now I want to do a different kind of problem with you. The other way that you can use top dog in the house, if you looked at our card from before, it says that we can also use this to convert fractions to mixed numbers. We've done this in class, but I want you to see firsthand what it is that you're going to do. So I'm going to get a different piece of paper, and we're going to show you that. If I have a mixed number, let's say that we have 6 2/3. That is our mixed number. And we want to convert that to a mixed number. Oh, we started off with a mixed number. If we want to convert that to a fraction, we have to start off with our denominator and take 3 times 6, and we'll get 18 as the product there, and then add 2 to it. We multiply and then we add. 18 plus 2 is 20, and we bring over our constant, which is our denominator. So that means 6 2/3 is actually equal to the improper fraction of 20/3. Now I want to do the repeat of it. I'm sorry, the opposite of that. I just totally used the wrong word. What if we start off with an improper fraction? How can I use top dog in the house to come up with a mixed number? Well, let's say 24 over, let's say 4. No, let's do 5. That way we have a remainder, okay? 24 over 5 is our immediate fraction that we were given. We know it's an improper fraction. We want to change it to be an improper fraction to be a mixed number. We're going to use top dog in the house. What is our top dog? It's 24. So 24 is going to go inside the house. 5 is the bottom dog. He goes on the outside of the house. The first thing we have to do now is long division. How many times does 5 go into 24? Well, it goes 4 times. And 4 times 5 is 20. We have 4 left over. When we show that this number up top is the total times that 5 can go into 24, I want you to see this becomes our whole number in the mixed number form. So that equals 4 as the big number. 5 is our constant. It doesn't change. That's the denominator. So in your fraction over here, 5 is going to be just like it was in the initial fraction. But we have these 4 leftovers. Whatever you get as a remainder, that becomes your new numerator. You use top dog in the house in this manner when you have an improper fraction that you want to change to a mixed number. Now, we didn't want to change it to a decimal. If we wanted to change it to a decimal, we would use the trick that we did at the beginning, and I can show you that as well, but I wanted you to see that you can use this top dog in the house to do lots of different things. The 2 most important are to change a fraction to a decimal and change an improper fraction into a mixed number. Let's use this same 24 over 5, and let's change that to a decimal. So here again, we have an improper fraction, and we want to change it to a decimal number. That's going to show us our equivalencies. Okay? Let's set up our top dog in the house. 24 goes on the inside of the house because it's top dog. 5 goes on the outside of the house because he's bottom dog. We're going to add our decimal, tick, 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 boom, and add a couple zeros to start off with. Now we're going to do our long division. 5 goes into 24 4 times. That gives us 20, again with our 4 left over. Do you see how this is exactly what we had right here? It's the exact same thing, but now we want to change it to a decimal number. So I'm going to bring down this 0 right here. How many times does 5 go into 40? 8. 8 times 5 is 40, so we're finally left with a 0 remainder. So this is our quotient, which tells us 24 over 5 equals the same thing as 4 8/10. Well, you may look at that and say, okay, but Miss Davis, up here you said it's 4 4/5. Well, if we take this fraction and mixed number right here and we reduce it down to its simplest form, can't we divide 2 out of both the numerator and the denominator? They both have 2 as a factor of them. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Lo and behold, look, we have the exact same answer. So you can use top dog in the house to change an improper fraction to a mixed number or an improper fraction to a decimal. Now we get to practice.